Welcome to the joint collaboration between Kaizen Made Easy and Kaizenify. What we're going to talk about today is quality and the cost of quality. So my first question is, we just want to know if you're in the right place. My first question is do you guys have any defects?
No, nobody else, just me.
Nobody. You're you're the only
Oh
one.
yeah.
You're in the right place. You're in the right place, Brad.
Good.
Um, Actually, I should, you know what I should do is a lot of these people don't know us, so maybe we should introduce ourselves really quickly.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Um,
idea.
so this is a collaboration between Kaizen Made Easy. Brad and I are business partners in a company called Quantum Lean, and that's a consulting group for lean manufacturing. But we're also business partners with Kaizenify, which is software as a service, which is a solution for manufacturing. So that's who we are. Brad, do you want to introduce yourself on another level?
Yeah, same two things as Lynn there. The only difference is I grew up in the woodworking industry, and we've since started a few more companies. So we've got the woodworking company still alive and well, making cabinet doors, and we also now build machinery that is mostly geared towards sanding for the woodworking industry. So now we're into metal and automation and all kinds of fun stuff. And all of the consulting that we've done in the last 25 years and all of the tools that we use were pretty much born on the shop floor at our facility out of a need. We needed all these tools and we just couldn't find them. So we ended up creating them for ourselves, and then realized, wow, the whole world could benefit from some of this stuff. So here we are.
If you don't have defects, now would be the time to check out and go join another webinar. And then the next question is, what is your cost of quality? So as you can see in this graphic, it's much higher than we normally think. We're normally thinking, oh, there's a little bit of material there, maybe some labor, but the true cost of quality is much greater than we think on average. And are you experiencing repetitive, recurring defects? And then, how is that affecting your morale? Another question I have for you is how much of your capacity is being robbed by poor quality? Because it's not just that material and labor, it's having an effect, some sort of impact on the capacity of your operation. Is your team's morale affected by that as well? Because we're saying, hey, we need better productivity, we need to hit these targets. But if we're suffering from these repeat quality issues, your team's morale is going to be pretty low at that point because we're being pressured to do well, but we can't do well if we don't have a good system or if we're in a system where we're just managing defects all the time. I guess we should start with what is a defect? And then if I was to ask three people on your team, am I going to get the same answer or am I going to get three different answers on what a defect looked like for you in the process that we're referring to? And then I want to know, are you passing the costs on to your customer or are you absorbing it yourself? Because, someone's paying for the cost of quality.
Yeah, and if I could chime in now with a personal story. So when we started tracking the cost of quality, we knew we made defects, and we are like, yeah, okay, at our factory we call them red boards. And so we knew we made red boards. And once we started tracking it, I gotta tell you, we had no idea. And when I say no idea, I mean no idea how expensive it was. So what we discovered in the first year of tracking defects, I like every time I say it, I just want to barf. But we we were like, our volume was only like 2 million at the time, and we calculated $500,000 went to defects out of 2 million. 25% of our productivity was lost. And so for us, what that did was it like opened our eyes like, oh, wait a second. Almost no solution that we could think of would cost more than that. We could say, listen, if buying a Ferrari fixed our problems, just go buy the Ferrari because it's half the price of our defects every year. Or if hiring another person did it, or if buying another machine or investing in training or whatever. There was nothing we could find that would cost more than $500 to solve our problems. So it was staggering. And I mean, I'm sure there's some people on this call today that have much, 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 much bigger companies, and I can only imagine what the numbers are. Also, maybe everybody on the call is just way better than us, and they don't make that many defects, but it was wild, wild.
Okay, so you're saying that's about 25% of your sales was your cost of quality?
Yeah.
Here's what's really interesting is in a minute, hang on to that thought. We'll talk about quality at the source first, but then we'll get into that number. I'll bring that up again. So Brad and I, if you watch any of our videos on our YouTube channel, you'll hear us talking about quality at the source all of the time. So, this image is showing us the source of the rain is the mountains with the glaciers, and the river's getting wider the further away it gets from the source. So we have this mistake here at the origin. Maybe that's engineering in your company, and it's $100 mistake, but we don't see it at that point. So we pass it off to the factory. It gets all the way down to assembly. Now $100 mistake is $1,000 mistake. Well, let's say it gets out to your customer. Now it's a $5,000 mistake, maybe even future business. So the further away you get from the source of that quality issue, the more it's going to cost you. So that's, this image depicts that pretty well. Maybe it didn't happen in engineering. Maybe the problem started in assembly, but made it all the way to your customer. So we'll always say, understand where the defect's coming from. Let's go to the source. Let's understand what's creating the quality issue, and then let's fix it. You're going to pay now, or you're going to pay later. If you pay now, it's in terms of doing the right thing, understanding your defects, training people properly, having those great standards, or you're going to pay later. And when you pay later, it's always more expensive. And I'm going to go back to morale. It has a serious effect on morale. If assembly is always having to deal with defects, that just drives everybody down. Brad, to get back to you said 25% was your cost of quality when you started
Yeah.
measuring it. So
Yeah.
what's interesting is this is just an average industry wide. Look at that, 15 to 25% of your revenue. So I just said 20%. I went in between those two numbers. 15 to 25% of your revenue is your cost of quality for average manufacturing. This is not industry specific. So that's including, materials, labor, repairing, scrap and waste. When we talk about that in terms of a $10 million company, the average cost of quality is $2 million a year. Let me just going to pause and let that sink in for a second. Because if you're a $5 million company, that's $1 million a year. I don't know about you, but I could sure use 1 or 2 million in my bank account. So it's worth it for me to get to the bottom of this. The other important note here is $166,000 a month. Let's put it in terms of a monthly cost. That does not include your loss of throughput at your bottleneck. That's in terms of repairing your defects, et cetera. But what did you lose in terms of capacity? So if you're a $10 million company, you've lost your throughput at your bottleneck is $5,000 an hour. That's another $1.2 million a year in capacity loss. So it's not $2 million a year you're losing. It's over $3 million a year you're losing in that case. That's the total cost of quality. Does anybody have any questions about that before we keep moving on?
If there's questions, just throw them in the chat, and then I'll stop Lynn and answer them as we go.
I guess my question, everyone, is does this make sense to you, or is this surprising to you? Is this shocking? Did you already know this? Any comments you guys want to make about that?
Yeah, the chat's going crazy, and people are saying, "Yep, yep, yes, yep, 20%."
Okay.
You're on the right
Yeah.
track. Keep going.
All right. So why do you think you don't have control over your quality? And I think there's a few common reasons. One is it's too hard to collect data. We've tried it before, it didn't work. We asked people to do it, and they started and stopped. We don't have the time to focus on quality, which is one of my favorite statements. Again, you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. You choose. Inconsistent training and standards, that's pretty common. Lack of visibility, you're collecting the data, but no one can see it. Therefore, no one's working on it, or no one can see if it's getting better or getting worse, so you're not getting any momentum. And then the last one is I don't want to know how bad it is. So I know it's bad, but I can't unsee it once I start looking at the data. So I don't want to go there. And I don't know if anybody else identifies with that, but I think that might be a bigger number than I think it is.
Well,
Um,
we had one customer who is in Australia, and he called me and he's like, Brad, I don't know, I don't know what to do now that my guys see how much the defects are costing. They're a little upset by it. I'm like, that's the
that's
point.
good.
Yeah, that's great. Get
Yeah,
fixing.
yeah, yeah. It just, and it's not to shame and blame people. It's to say, if someone's in a really bad position, I always say, perfect. There's so much opportunity ahead of you right now. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of low hanging fruit, and there's massive gains to be made if you're not addressing it today. So it's not that you should feel bad. It's that, hey, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in front of you. And what does quality have to do with morale? I've mentioned that a few times. So, I mean, if you just look at that graphic, enthusiasm, absenteeism, low productivity, change in behavior. You can have a guy that's, really excited when he first starts at your company, but when he sees that you don't have really good training and standards and there's a lot of defects and a lot of repetitive defects, his morale is eroding pretty quickly. So, employees, when they're producing high quality products, they have a sense of pride and ownership. 85% of employees are more engaged when you have good quality standards. And if you have poor quality, defects are leading to rework, customer returns, morale is definitely going down. They feel like everything they do is, a waste of time. And then, no one wants to be on the losing team. So there is a direct correlation between quality and morale. That one's a little harder to measure, but it's definitely there's definitely a correlation there. But now that we know how important this is, how do we accomplish this as soon as possible? So standardization is one place to start. Henry Ford said standardization is the basis of all improvement. So that's there's two things here. Also knowing what to fix and what's the priority. And standardizing, we're talking about a well documented SOP, a standard operating procedure, and then that is what you're training your people with. So everyone's getting the same standard, they're getting the full training every single time. Now we can hold people accountable to a standard. Without a standard, I'm just nagging. There's a lot of he said, she said. There's a lot of ambiguity. Jerry's doing it one way, Brad's doing it another way, I'm doing it another way. We don't have a standard. So once we have that SOP, that standard, we have the training, we can hold people accountable to it. And that's where our quality really starts to get dialed in, because variation is the enemy of quality. So at this point, we're really reducing or eliminating the variation by having the standard, and it makes it more simple for everyone. And it also, again, sets you up for success when you're training new people. They're not getting 20% off what's off the top of your head. You're walking them through the standard operating procedure. For Kaizenify, what we did was we just built the system to make it easy for you to do the right thing. So if you see you don't have a standard, just create one. Create it now, not later. Do it, on your phone or on your computer. And then when it comes to quality and defects, we manage your top 3 defects. We prioritize your defects for you because, as you can see in this bottom graph there, you're going to have lots of defects every day, and it's impossible to stay on top of them. I just want you to focus on your top 3. And until you fix one of these, those top 3 are going to stay there. As soon as you fix one, then another one's going to bubble up. So you're not going to run out of defects. We're just prioritizing them based on the effect it's having. Is it a repetitive defect? It gets a higher rating. Did it happen at your bottleneck or your control point? It gets a higher rating because that's where you're purging cache. Was it rated as a high priority? When someone reported it, it gets a higher rating. So there's a few criteria that go in there to determine what your priorities are. And then that way we know exactly what we're focusing on. And you can see that we have the total defect cost, the downtime cost. We're quantifying it and putting it right out there for you so you can see it. A lot of people have no concept of what the cost of quality or the impact of these issues is having on the company. So we're quantifying that for you in the software. Yes, Brad.
I just wanted to jump in quick and with another little shop floor story, like right off of our factory floor. Um, because these issues are bubbling up for us now in the top three every morning at our morning meeting, that's what we talk about. That's it. We are not playing whack-a-mole anymore all day with like, oh, because every day 500 things go wrong. And that's to be expected. But every day, if you try and fix 500 things, you're playing whack-a-mole and none of them ever go away. Well, now we see those top three and it's all we talk about. It's like, let's get that one under control. And once it goes away, another one will pop up. And we're containing things as they happen during the day, but we're not focused on anything other than the biggest one, because you could have this elephant in the room for quality and then you're paying attention to the little ants that are biting at your ankles. It's like, no, 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 we're staying on the big ones. And it's been wild. Like, because when the system pops up your most expensive one. So fix that first, right? And then it's like they just keep getting a smaller and smaller and smaller. Like I'm looking at mine right now. When we first started doing this, our defects were like $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month. And I have it open on another screen and they're like, I see the one now, 1,500, 1,600. So there's still like a lot of money. Uh, but it's nothing like the big one that it used to be. And when you fix those defects, that money has nowhere to go except the bottom line. Nowhere. It's not going, you're already paying the labor, you're already paying the overhead. That money literally, whatever you see in that defect tracker, when you get rid of that, it goes right down to your net profit.
That's a very good point, as well as the downtime. So we're quantifying your downtime costs. I'm just going to flip over to a live demo. I'm just going to go into the live system at this point, and we're going to look at how it actually works. So I'm in the quality system. This is a demo company for me. So here's my top 3 defects. How this works is this is your overview. This is the presentation of the data. So from a data collection standpoint, if I want to report defects, I would have a tablet out there or a computer in my different work cells. These are some example work cells. I have drafting set up. I have stain, doors. Sanding is my bottleneck. So that's my control point. So that's where if I'm recording downtime as a result of a defect at my control point, I'm not only the cost of the defect, but I'm losing capacity. I've just suffered, like I said, in the $10 million company, 1 hour of downtime, that's $5,000. So that's why we're keeping track of this. So let's say I have some read through, it's rework. I'm going to say it's high, 11 pieces, and I had 25 minutes of downtime. That's how easy it is for them to report it on the line. Now, if I go to my overview, it's not showing up here because I already had 3 defects to work on. So how I close these defects, let's say I go here, I have fish eyes. I'm going to click on this. It takes me right down to the detail. So everything is drillable. I'm going to say I'm going to close this one. I'm happy I've got it resolved. Whatever the root cause was. I don't know why I'm yelling with caps on. Preventive action. I'm going to try and close that. And then I'm going to stop you and I'm going to say, no. Did you need to update an SOP? Did you need to create an SOP? Did you need to train someone? Because this is what we try to cut corners on. So I'm going to make you answer this question so that I'm really hoping you're going to do the right thing now. So you're going to say, I did an SOP and the training's complete. Perfect. I go back here. A different one is now bubbled up. So you're just focusing on these 3. Yes, we reported some downtime today, but until you finish one of these, another one's not going to bubble up. And then down here is just different ways of looking at your data. You have you hover over these and it tells you what the defects are. This one's by type, this one's by date. By defects by day, you might notice every Monday we have more defects. So these are kind of these graphs down here are to help you understand your data. Really, we just want you focusing on your top 3. That's it. The downtime, we're showing the downtime separate from the defect cost because if it happens, so these have 0 downtime. They were not discovered at the bottleneck or the control point. So we're not quantifying downtime there. It's only if it happened at your bottleneck because that directly affects your throughput dollar productivity today.
I'm busy answering some questions on the chat for you.
Ah,
But so
you can say them out loud. Are they
yeah,
common
no,
questions?
no, no. Yeah. One of the comments here was I use an ERP system. it does miss a trick for data recording. This does seem pretty efficient tool to gather data and identify the big hitters. So more of a comment, I think, but just to be able to capture the data in, I think it takes like 5 seconds to record a defect once it's set up.
Yeah, I'll do another one while you're on here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, done.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the key that we found was having a tablet at every station. And then at that level, an operator runs into a problem. The tablet stays open on the defect tracker and they just hit the buttons, boom, 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 boom. It's easy. And then we have the data in real time. And then every morning, you know, there's there's no software on planet Earth that's going to solve your problems. This is just giving you a focusing mechanism for what should we all be thinking about all day long.
And as you solve your problems, you're going to notice that over the line chart shows your throughput dollars per day. And this is the dashboard. We've done webinars on this before, but you're going to see the results here. Your throughput dollars are going to go up as you solve these quality issues. So you're going to see the overall impact. Like you, Brad, right? You're using this every day, the over the line chart, and you're seeing it hit your graph.
Yeah, absolutely. More questions coming in as faster than I can read them. I just need to get it started and build on it every day. Yes, you do, Jerry. You gotta rip off the Band-Aid and just, it's like anything, start now. Can we see the training matrix?
1 second before, because I think that's important. What you were just talking about, getting started. You must close the loop on feedback to your employees. So show them the top three. As you resolve one, show them that you resolved one and another one popped up, because I'm not going to collect data for you if you're not showing me how you're using it. If it's driving some meaningful change, perfect. I'm going to keep collecting the data. But if I'm collecting it and you're not doing anything with it, or I'm not getting the feedback, that's where this thing falls apart. So morning meetings are great for this. Maybe it's a weekly presentation or something, but you got to show them, here's the data, and we're seeing the results in the productivity as well. Sorry, you said training matrix?
Yeah, just because the webinar was supposed to be just about quality, but this system
Yeah.
does your Kanban cards, your SOPs, your training matrix, production timers, the quality tool. Like this is kind of like a full suite of lean tools
But with this is going to help you with your quality as well, right?
for sure.
Because let's say, this guy calls in sick in the stain department. I've only got one other person that I can really throw in there and hope that we do okay today. That's 50% trained. So I can look at this and go, oh, I have a pretty serious risk here. I need to plan to train someone else up on my stain line. So that is also helping you with your quality. This is telling you where your biggest risks are in terms of someone's skill and ability. And then if I have enough people trained up, like this line here, I have a few people trained up at 100%. I'm feeling good about that. I'm going to move to the area where I can see a big risk, and then I'm going to focus on training them. And then when I'm training them, and if I go, oh, I don't have a standard here, then I'm going to create a standard, train them. The standards and the training are what's going to help your quality as well.
Another quick interlude here for us. What we discovered when we started using the training matrix was like some people wanted to learn things that we would have never in a million years, because the P means we're planning. The P on the chart means we're planning to do the training.
Mm-hmm.
And like some people are like, office people are like, I want to learn how to weld, or I want to learn how to do, so it was really cool, and just getting the whole team involved in like, what upcoming stuff do you want to learn next? There's another question here that I think is good. How does Kaizenify collect the data? Is it with sensors, and Kaizenify is just a dashboard or a manufacturing execution system?
I wouldn't call it an MES system. An MES system is something that's like hooked right up into all of your machines. It's an interface, and it's
Mhm.
automatically collecting, and it might be stopping you from moving forward if there's a problem with the part. That's a whole other level of integration. Where right now you're manually plugging this in. Our next step is to create APIs to make it easier. But right now it's just so easy to report a defect. Someone to just go, I got some scratches, it's rework, it's medium, I had 18 pieces, report. It's so simple right now. As far as the dashboard and collecting data, there's 4 pieces of data you enter in once per day to get all of these graphs. And we show you your downtime on here as well. So if I had 55 minutes of downtime on July 9th, my $10 million company, that cost me $5,000. So, it's pretty easy to see where we need to focus.
Another important thing to understand what Kaizenify is designed for and why it's effective is every measurement on here, everything you see on here is to help drive the right behavior from people. All of the measurements that we put here are tried and true manufacturing measurements, but you're not filing your taxes by this. It's not going to your accountant. This is like a standalone system for your people because it's the metrics that they can change. It's not metrics like your profit and loss statement and all this other stuff that you got going on. That's not what this is about. This is about shop floor data and empowering your people to make the necessary change, which then in 45 days, your accountant will be very happy with you about. But that's the point of this. And, the reason we're manually entering things is not because we're lazy. It's because we want people to be really attached to those numbers. We want people to know we want them to feel the pain of reporting that defect. We want them to enter their throughput dollars every day. We want them to do that. So when you're like, hey, what's going on out there? They can't say, oh, I don't know. The system's it's automatically updating. I forgot to look at the chart yesterday. It can't happen. This is all
Yeah.
about shop floor behavior.
That's a great point. I mean, all of my lean experience comes from 29 years in automotive, and we had $1 million budgets for software every year. The best MES integrated systems on the shop floor. We would still have every operator at every work cell walking up to a chart once an hour and plotting with a marker their progress on that chart. And the only reason we did that, we had all the fancy TVs with all the automatic numbers on it, red, green, yellow, but that person was now attached to the outcome. You can casually look at a number on a screen and go, oh yeah, but when you're plotting it yourself, there's a whole different level of understanding and accountability and responsibility there.
Which also helps motivation. Win-win. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we had one guy that said something to me about 10 years ago. We had a great day in the factory, and he looked at me and he said, flow is morale. And that just stuck with me. I was like, yeah, because when you're having a good day, you're having a good day. And when things are clunky, you're having a bad day. Knowing what to go after to start to reduce those bad days is awesome.
Yeah, and the whole point of having the top 3 presented here is because my guys are going to be super busy picking up and putting down problems all day long. They're not going to finish anything. They're not going to do a true root cause analysis and preventive action analysis. That's what I want. At that level, you need focus on a problem to truly understand. Go through the 5 whys, understand the real root cause. What's our preventive action going to be? How are we going to roll this out? How are we going to test it? It takes some focused effort until the end, until you've done your testing and realize, oh, this is the answer. But people will pick up a lot of quality issues, and then they're wildly distracted the next day with the next level of quality issues, but nothing's getting done. So that's why we're saying focus on these top 3. Don't pick up that other distraction over there. Fix one of these first.
Okay, another question. Does the top 3 defects change or do the top 3 change automatically?
When when I fix this one, I'm just going to go through and fix another one. I'll do it. I'll do the batch update. I'm going to say it's resolved, root cause, preventive action. I'm getting good at typing preventive action. Oof. So now when I go back here, I have a new one.
Those top 3, though, do not go away until you fix them. Until you
Yes,
knock one out, they stay put.
to force you to focus. You're going to be, because something else is going to happen later on today, and it's going to feel like it's more urgent than these. And then you're going to switch gears. Don't switch gears. that the pressure should be on to fix one of these then, and then make room for that one to pop up. You know, the issue is people are not staying focused. They're firefighting all day long. They're running around and firefighting, but we're not finishing. We're not truly root causing.
Can you change the quantity per input?
You input the quantity each time. I'm not
Yes.
sure I understand the question.
Yeah. So Greg, do you mean when you're reporting a defect, can you change the quantity per input? Okay, thanks. I just missed it. He's answering all his own questions. I like Greg.
Oh, okay.
You
I've
know,
got
rapid.
one more quick thing to say about this. These tools are really, again, everything we're doing here is just driving focus. Everyone's super busy all day long and they're running around not finishing anything. So all of these tools are to drive focus and accountability. And another thing that happens here, so you see this downtime cost right here at your bottleneck because you had 55 minutes of downtime at your bottleneck. We're saying, oh, that's $500. So you have the option to set it up so that if you experience downtime, see this receive downtime text, you toggle that on. After X number of minutes of downtime at your control point, someone's going to get a text message. In this case, it's me. I've set myself up to get a text message when there's more than X number of minutes of downtime. So it's like an on feature, call for help. Hey, are you aware that they're having some serious issues over there? So there's that option too. So it's all about focus and priorities.
Got another question. Can you show us the start of the system? How do we enter a brand new defect?
They're going to go in here. These are the ones I have set up in my test system. What do you want me to call it? Give me something to put in here.
Jerry's favorite defect.
Jerry's favorite. I'm going to say it's $100 defect. So at this point, when you're assigning a value, this is your
Millwork.
material labor guesstimate for every time this happens. It's about $100. So, and then you can change the color, and then add defect. So now we have Jerry's favorite defect is down here. So then I need to go to a line and I'm going to say, well, Jerry, so it's sanding. This is where we have the issue. So I'm going to add defects. I'm going to add Jerry's favorite defect to this. I'm going to update it. So now when I go over to the sanding line to report defects, I now have Jerry's favorite defect there to select.
Well, it doesn't get any easier than that. If this is interesting to people, what do? What's the next step?
Well, you can go to, there's a 60-day free trial. So you can set it up, try it out for 60 days. You go to Kaizenify.app. And
Do you
then
have
I'm going to be sending out a link.
so and what ends up happening is if you feel like this solution can help you, you sign up for free, it's no problem, and then you will then get a call from Lynn for a one-on-one walkthrough of the whole system. Like today, we just breezed over the quality tool. You know, we didn't really get into the Kanbans or SOPs or the production timers, but it is a pretty full system. And I think if you took it away from me, I wouldn't want to have a factory anymore. So
And that's what the goal is, right? To have a system where if you shut it off, everybody starts screaming. Because if you have a system and you shut it off and no one says anything, you know it's not getting used or they're not seeing the value in it.
do we cover the UK?
It's a global software as a service. I
Should be
saw
good.
something about IT support. There's a help desk system integrated into it. So you open up a help desk ticket,
Can you
it goes
show
to the
us that?
support team. Okay, so support. I'm going to create a ticket. Can't log in or whatever it is, whatever your issue is. I'm going to say it's a high priority. The print screen. I'm gonna, pretend I attach something here. So that's gonna send an email to the support team. The support team's gonna, if they type any updates or ask any questions, you're gonna get an email from the system. And then as you add something, support gets an email. So this is a closed loop system inside of Kaizenify where all the help desk tickets are managed. There's also
And
this, you can tell if people are using the system. You can see, are they creating standards? Are they creating Kanbans? There's a quick little visual reference there as well.
what is the turnaround time on the email response? So it depends, I think, on the level of the issue, because the other thing that we're pretty active on is on WhatsApp. And so if you're already a customer, you've experienced this, but we really want people to have answers immediately. So if it's something like not technical, like not a bug, you could also just text us and we answer, pretty immediately. But the question was, is the turnaround on an email, like how long does it take support to get back?
Oh, I mean, within the day, someone's going to acknowledge it, probably within hours, but no more than 24 hours before someone's acknowledging it. And then, at that point, depending on the issue, there might be some back and forth. We might need some data from you to show us the problem, or there might be some questions back and forth, but then we're actively working on it.
Another question, what's on the company dashboard?
Company dashboard is the over the line chart. This is the ready to build buffer. So if you're manufacturing something, we want to make sure we have a nice big buffer in front of the factory, because the factory is going to slow down to the rate they're being fed. So we want to make sure we have you loaded up with work. So that's the first thing we're looking at. Then the over the line chart is how we're doing every single day. We have to meet that line at a minimum, and when we cross that line, we're now making a profit. So this is telling us, how are we doing each day that we're operating? Throughput dollars per labor hour. This tells me if I'm making good decisions. Daily, I get some feedback. That was a bad decision. This is a good decision. I might have taken some guys from one area of the factory and put them into my bottleneck for the afternoon, and then I got immediate increase in throughput dollars per labor hour. That's a huge win, and that goes right to my bottom line. So I'm getting immediate feedback that that was a good decision. So I'm going to keep doing that at that point. Do you have you want to pipe in here, Brad, about how you use these graphs?
Yeah, I think the important part about all of these graphs is actually the daily reporting. This is something that is very difficult in manufacturing, is getting, like, when I buy a machine or when I do something, what was the impact of that something? Quite often we buy something, it's not even someone's job to confirm that it's doing what it should be doing. But when you monitor these metrics, there's four very specific metrics that we monitor. That day if the good thing is happening or if the bad thing that you should stop doing is happening, and your team can see it right away. Not, over 45 days later, your income statement, when you say, oh, we had a bad month. Like, what does that mean 45 days later? There's nothing you can do. So
Well, I mean, if you tell me I had a bad month in July and I'm your production manager, I'm going to say, oh, July. Let's see. You're telling me this is week 2 of August, by the way. I'm going to say, you know what? I think the flu ripped through the factory for the
yeah,
first week in July, and then, I think we had some quality issues. Oh, I'll have to check with the guys. Oh, we had a machine that was down too. What just happened? Nothing. I have no idea if that was really caused our problems. No problems got fixed, but this drives daily accountability. I didn't meet the line today. There's a note there, quality finishing defects. That means I've acknowledged that I had a problem and I know what it is. The next day, we didn't quite meet the line. Small quality issues still filtering in from yesterday. Okay, you can look at this on your phone. You're getting on an airplane. All of these graphs are there. If you're the owner, now I can see they've got it under control. They've worked through this problem. They know what the problem is because they put the comments there. Now they've worked through it. Now we're making money. Now we cross the line and we're making money. I can remember what happened today. I can't remember what happened 6 weeks ago. So this is just driving daily accountability. You tell me how you're going to measure me, and I'll tell you how I'm going to behave. So if you measure me daily, perfect.
Lynn,
We're all gonna, yeah,
yeah, we
yeah.
got a question on the different packages that are offered. It's like basic. I don't know them, so we just
It's basic. Basic is the SOP Kanban and productivity timer. It's these 3 tools here. That's the basic tool. The Lean Maniac tool is everything you see here right now. That's the entire package. The done for you plan is sending someone on site because you just do not have the bandwidth to get this thing off the ground in terms of standardization and Kanbans and things like that. So, we'll send someone there to help you out with it. But typically, you're subscribing to this. I'm booking a one-on-one Zoom call with you. I'm giving you the full demo on the product. Then you can book another Zoom with me if you feel like you need some help setting it up. It's pretty easy to set up, and I have tutorial videos here for everyone how to set it up. But I'm happy to walk you through how to use the tools, how we use this to manage the
hey,
factory. Happy
while
to do
you're
that.
while you're on that screen, question from Melissa. What is the bar at the top telling us? The red, green,
This one
yellow.
here, you have 2 factories. You have a hidden factory and a shop that's making something, a factory that's making something. Your hidden factory is sales engineering, design, purchasing. Basically, your entire office is one factory on its own. Then your shop is your other factory. So I want your shop to have a big buffer of ready to go work orders, whatever it is in front of them, because they will slow down to the rate they're being fed. If you're not feeding them fast enough, we certainly can't go to the shop and say, hey guys, come on, we're supposed to be making $1,000 a day in throughput. You're gonna look at me and go, I'm not getting $1,000 a day of orders. I can't do it. Or I get the order at the last minute and then they tell me to hurry up and make it, which is just we're just gonna force me to make more defects. If we have a nice comfortable buffer in front of the shop, you have some flexibility. You can move some orders around if you have to, but also the shop doesn't have to slow down. First graph is telling me I'm in the yellow or green zone, I'm happy. If I'm in the red zone, I'm looking at the hidden factory. Maybe it's engineering. Guys, get some orders out here. Get, what's it going to take to get this buffer built back up again? Again, we're back to where should I be focusing today? The guys in the hidden factory are focusing on outside sales. That's not helping me because I'm drying up my orders for the factory. I need to help point them in the right direction. That's what that first graph is. Am I okay? Is my buffer in good order?
Turn your mic on and talk to us if you want. That's how lovable we are, Lynn. Nobody even wants to talk to us. I got it. I'm not gonna take that person. I think it's
I have a suggestion.
yes.
So we're using the over the line chart. We think it's great. The whole app is great, to be honest. Thank you for creating this and helping us. But one thing that we've only been using the over the line chart for about 3 months. I'll add one more thing for anybody out there that doesn't have this. We just started using the over the line chart 3 months ago. And I've been in business for 33 years and we've never measured ever until the last 3 months. And I've been blown away on somewhat on how good we are and how bad we are and how like our what do you call it, ready to build buffer is at 229 points today. But I walk in the office today and one of my guys says, hey, I got 4 guys with nothing to do. And I said, well, how is our ready to build at 229? That can't be correct. You're putting your ready to build means we have site dimensions, we have samples approved, we have everything ready to go. That means that's ready to build. But just because the shop drawings are done and we don't have site dimensions, that shouldn't be in the ready to build line.
Correct. See, and
exactly. So that's a visual system. Immediately you can make a call and ask the right questions. That's a great example, Jerry. It's wonderful. And how this dashboard was developed, I was helping to manage a company, consulting with them remotely to get them through a tough time. They were losing $25,000 a month. So we were using all these graphs in Excel. I was doing it in Excel, and it was hard to keep up. And also I was nagging customers to do this, and nobody wanted to do it. So I used it with that factory. We took them from minus 25 to plus 45 a month, and we hadn't even started lean manufacturing yet. We were just doing this, driving daily visibility and accountability. And I was managing that guy remotely, and I was saying, put a comment here. If you're having a bad day, I know you've got the issue. I know you understand what it is, and I know you're working on it. That was our way of communicating. And it worked so well. I just said, I can't even live without this anymore. I'm not going to consult with anybody unless they're doing this, because your big, massive short-term wins are going to come from this. And like Jerry said, you're going to learn so much about your company. If you're just doing this and looking at this every day, you'll learn what you're good at, what goes through your shop well. You'll learn what jobs don't go through your shop well. If you don't have every day something going across the line in a blue bar, you don't have flow. Like there's so many things you're going to see and learn right away. You get instant validation, good decision, bad decision. I mean, I can't go out and tell the guys to hurry up in the shop if they don't have anything in their buffer. They already know if I go faster, I'm going to dry out my orders, and then now we have nothing to do. All of these graphs should be driving daily decisions. And I mean, I wouldn't live without it myself. I know, Brad, you said you wouldn't. And, Jerry, that's great feedback. I'm glad that's working out for you, Jerry.
The SOP thing is great, especially with the QR codes so we can create videos, because when someone goes over to our wide belt sander and they've never turned it on before, people don't like reading things, but they'd love to just scan a QR code, watch a video, and it's
Right.
just
So, I mean,
so
my
amazing.
favorite one is my generator one. If anybody has a phone on them, you can scan that. That's an actual QR code that I have on my generator outside. So when I'm on site consulting somewhere and my generator doesn't work when the automatically flip over, I can text my neighbor and say, please go follow those instructions. And it's just a step-by-step troubleshooting. And that's how easy it is. You put these barcodes everywhere: how to start this machine, how to stop this machine, how to do a changeover on this machine, how to assemble this, how to do an estimate.
Maintenance.
Doing
I
an
mean,
oil change on a compressor, instead of paying a compressor company to come in and do it, you can have one of your staff do it, and saves you a lot of
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
that's your standard, right?
These are super handy in all the spots where like we like at our factory, we like to have this SOPs posted and we like to have the QR code on there so the video is available. So it's kind of like a brand new person, watch the video, read the SOP. If you're not new, just follow the SOP. If you're experienced, the SOP is still in front of you for reference. If you're like, oh, where am I at? You can just look at it. And then for all of those tasks that are there's just you can't have 6,000 sheets of paper posted all over every machine. So these QR codes are great, like daily, weekly, monthly maintenance, and you can put that inside of the QR code, and it's a week. You just scan it with your phone. Oh yeah, that's how to execute that task. So the the
Y-
QR codes have been great.
Yeah, you could also send the QR code on an email to someone who's even remote and say, here, here's take this QR code and scan it. And it's just been a game changer when we introduced the QR codes. That's one of my favorite enhancements in the SOPs is that I don't know if anybody watches our YouTube channel, but I just put one up about I'm in charge of the chickens this week. So I put a QR code on the chicken coop so I know exactly what to do.
Well, something
Uh,
else we should mention for everybody, we should have said it at the beginning. I'm sure some people have dropped off, but we have a podcast called The Shop Floor that's available on YouTube and Spotify. We are also on YouTube under, if you search Quantum Lean, you can see all of our videos.
Yeah, so we put a lot of content out there, how we use standards, examples of standards, how we use the dashboard. They're, really lean shops. We tour them and put that content out there. And the podcasts we're getting some really good people on the podcasts.
I still get 100 messages a day from Chuck Ciccarelli.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Oh my
He's
God.
my new benchmark lean guy. Good. If you guys are good, we'll shut this down and I'll send a follow-up email. I am recording it, so I'll make sure I send the link out.
One other point I'd bring up is when you're talking about defects at the beginning, last week we quoted a job and I had to say to my estimator, I said, I don't think there's enough money in that job. And he's going, well, and I don't think that he estimated incorrectly, but because we are so inefficient and we have so many defects, we have to charge more money. So it's not fair to our customer. We end up losing jobs because of this. And this has nothing to do with that cabinet should take 8 hours to build when really you could build it in 6. So the end of the discussion is, well, why are we charging 8? It's not because the customer should be charged 8 hours. It's because we are so inefficient that our customer has to pay for it, or they move on to someone else and buy it somewhere else. So
Yeah.
it's hugely important, defects. And I tell the guys about 2-second lean all the time. Like, if we create a 2-second improvement in every single area every single day, imagine how much better we would be by the end of the year. We'd probably sell that cabinet for 4 hours now.
Yeah, well, and there is a tool on that dashboard there, your minutes per point. This is your estimate checker. This is where you go to because you do your estimate and then you can go here and this is giving you how much it's costing you per minute to do a job. Nobody has this data. I almost guarantee it. So now you can cross-reference that with your estimate. Your guy says, oh, I estimated 10 hours for this job, which is 600 minutes, and it's $10,000. You could go back to your minutes per point and go, oh, yeah, that checks out. Or, oh, no, uh, it's going to be half because this graph is telling you reality. Your estimate is telling you the future that you're trying to predict. So you can say on average, it's taking us, if a point is $500, it's taking us 60 minutes to make $500, and your estimate's not reflecting that same thing. It's a double check to make sure that what your plant is doing is what your estimators are doing. And I've never seen this tool anywhere. Real important for
Yeah.
sure.
And also don't forget, right now we're showing downtime here. And like I said, that's $5,000 worth of downtime right there on July 9th if you're a $10 million company. If you're a $5 million company, that's $2,500 of downtime. And obviously this is going to be a lot of downtime. This is my demo company, so I don't have a lot of data in here, but on your dashboard, you can see, are we experiencing any downtime at our control point? Because if you are, then you're purging cash. If you don't measure at this level, we equate that to you're in your plane, you're flying with zero gauges. That's kind of the analogy we use. We'll wrap this up.
All right. Well, thanks
Thank you.
everybody. Appreciate it. Lots of thank yous in the chat, Lynn. You did a great job. So hopefully we see you all in the near future, and you can join our consortium of lean maniacs just trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah, I'll
All right.
send out a follow-up email too, guys, with a recording link and some more information. So feel free to reach out to me directly. You'll have my email as soon as I send that out. Thanks,
Well,
guys.
thanks
Have a great
everyone.
day.
Bye-bye.